Oh, this story is funny. Nobody's perfect, right? You know, a lot of people have been very critical of Reddit for their policies. They've banned certain subreddits. They've quarantined certain subreddits. If you're not familiar with Reddit, I'd be confused, but that's the way. It's a social media site. There are things called subreddits, which are they're basically forums for particular topics. And a lot of people have said it was, a Silicon Valley SJW company. It's, far less feminist. They had Ellen Pao, who is a feminist CEO and has had several terrible hot takes on Twitter recently. And then we have one of the founders, who is Steve Huffman. And there have been, people have made fun of him. Actually, there's a comic from Ben Garrison. This comic from Ben Garrison, where I think that's Stefan Molyneux, I don't know who that is, says, not an argument. And then you've got the CEO saying, they hurt my feelings, and he's holding a laptop with a Donald. They were taking over, so I fixed it. This comic was about how the algorithm changed because the Donald subreddit was too high. Like, if you would go to all subreddits and look at the highest ranking posts, it was usually the Donald or someone angry with the Donald. And the Donald is a subreddit. It's basically a forum for supporters of Donald Trump. So he made this basically making fun of the CEO, but this is a funny story. Okay, so that's the CEO, and the story is, Reddit CEO tells user, "We are not the thought police," then suspends that user. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to immediately say, see, this is proof of censorship, and you would be sort of right. The story gets a little complicated. The way they've titled the story is a bit unfair. But then when you find out the person who got banned was actually asking them why they wouldn't ban hate speech, it becomes somewhat ironic. Now, I'm going to stop right here because I want to plug my merch. I got this shirt. It's convenient for this video I'm doing. This is my shirt. It's called The Death of Censorship. And we've got this design I did. It's the Illuminati pyramid toppled over with the U.S. Office of Censorship motto, "Silence accelerates victory," in Latin. And it's like, it's fallen over, censorship. To hell with ye, censorship. So if you like it, in the description below is information. You can buy these shirts. When you buy the shirts, it helps support my work. So on this channel, I'm always about promoting, these designs and stuff. And there's other stuff too. Check out the merch. There's other designs. I designed all this stuff. It's fantastic. So Reddit declined to confirm why suspension was enforced, came shortly after reveal of DMs. Basically what happened is somebody sent a direct message to Spez, that's his name on Reddit, Steve Huffman. He responded. They published the message, so he suspended them. That's actually pretty cut and dry. End of story. Have a nice day. No, but let's look at the story actually. So they say a Reddit user has found himself at the end of a week-long suspension. From the look of his account, it might have come because he publicly shared a direct message exchange with Reddit CEO Steve Spez Huffman over the platform's handling of hate speech. Reddit has confirmed to Ars Technica that Huffman's conversation, as posted by user, "What'll my username be?" on Sunday, is legitimate. The conversation begins with Huffman responding to the question, "Why do you admins not just ban hate speech?" And he said, "Our violent speech policy is effectively that." They responded. So, What'll. "I'd argue that hate speech should be banned with its own rule separate from the violence policy, but thank you for replying." Spez, "Hate speech is difficult to define. There's a reason why it's not really done. Additionally, we are not the thought police. It's not the role of a private company to decide what people can and cannot say." What'll. "But it is the role of a private company to decide what people can and cannot say on its own platform." Spez, "I know what you're asking, but it's nearly impossible precedent to uphold. It's impossible to enforce consistently." And that's true. And that's one of the big problems of Twitter. You can go on Twitter and search for, just pick a racial slur. And you're going to find tons of it. You can type "kill all racial slur" and boom, huge list pops up. Yet for some reason, certain people are getting censored on Twitter. They're getting accounts suspended. Certain people have been banned outright, even though they aren't technically breaking the rules. And there are people who legitimately break the rules who get a pass. Obviously, I think Twitter's going to try and target higher profile accounts that break the rules first, up until they're a certain level of profile. Like a celebrity can tweet something like, "Go get violent people," and they're going to be like, yeah, but that's okay. And then there's like a mid-range person, maybe 100,000 followers, it's a big account, and they'll say something, they'll get banned, they'll lose their check mark, you know how it goes. With these little accounts, there's too many of them. Twitter can't deal with it. When reached for comment, a Reddit representative declined to confirm whether the user suspension was related to sharing of this direct message history. Ars Technica was able to reach the user, who goes by the name Zachary Swanson, on Monday. Swanson shared a screen cap with ours of the reason Reddit gave for suspending his account for 7 days. For harassment was the listed cause, with no further clarification. So, we don't know why this person got banned. Or, I'm sorry, suspended. But what we do know is they were telling Spez, they were arguing for hate speech to be banned, and then they got a suspension for harassment. It's a bit ironic. It kind of feels like maybe Spez was trying to do a here's a taste of what it's like to be banned for what you say, you know, or to be suspended. A lot of these people who call for suspensions based on speech don't realize it'll be wielded against them. So here you go. Here's what is it? Karmic? Is it poetic justice? Huffman's logic appears to run counter to initiatives run by Reddit itself. The social media platform has a history of closing channels wholesale in the wake of controversies, particularly those that ran afoul of harassment rules in 2015. And Huffman's description of how companies define hate speech ignores the fact that many major online platforms in the West inform their users of firmly defined hate speech rules, including Google, its subsidiaries, Facebook, its subsidiaries, Microsoft, and its subsidiaries. Okay, we get it, Ars Technica. Before receiving the 7-day suspension, Swanson reminded members of the community about Reddit's occasional decision to ban entire communities wholesale. Remember, Anderson Cooper's piece on r/jailbait, Swanson wrote. Immediately banned. I say we start flooding news tip lines every time we see egregious hate speech that isn't being banned. You know what I think? I think Reddit made a huge mistake. They banned a bunch of subreddits that probably should have been banned, hands down. Some of them were just ridiculously, terribly racist forums, and there's an issue of brigading when it comes to a lot of these forums. Now, I'm not saying every single racist forum, but I'm saying there were a lot of forums that were pretty nasty places, and they would link to other areas of Reddit, and this would lead to what's called brigading, when one group of people essentially floods another, group subreddit and then downvotes things and tries to manipulate things, and that's a problem, and they should be banned for that. But then what's interesting is that there was a subreddit called, I believe it was called Fat People Hate. Literally a subreddit for hate. And it made fun of fat people, and it posted their pictures, and it mocked them. It posted memes and things like that. Well, Reddit banned the subreddit. They said you can't do this. And that was, in my opinion, stupid. Because all that happens is those people are still on Reddit. Now they're just going to other subreddits and saying the same things. You've essentially had this big mass, right? It's like a big bowl of Jell-O or something, and you whacked it with a hammer and it splattered all over the place. You didn't get rid of any of these people or any of these ideas. You just sent it all around Reddit. And when some of these issues got really bad, there were just massive activist campaigns where people would flood Reddit with certain posts so that the front page, when you go to reddit.com, you'd see all of the same thing. But now we have similar subreddits, like I think it's called Fat People Logic, which is almost the same thing. And I have to wonder why Reddit isn't banning these. That there seem to be certain subreddits that are essentially the same thing, but they tweaked it a little bit and now it's okay. It could be that these subreddits have formed themselves in such a way to abide by the rules. Or it could be that they realized shutting down free speech was bad for a platform that is built upon people sharing links, sharing content. And that if you start telling people you can't share things here because it's hate speech or whatever, then people will go do it somewhere else. I don't know. It's all speculative. But it does feel like today, especially with this story, that Reddit is kind of backing away from their much crazier stance on just shutting everything down. I will add, too, that a lot of this happened under Ellen Pao, who is a far-left, individual. Feminist, female, Silicon Valley. She sued her past company for sexism and things like that. Well, now we have Reddit. Apparently, at least what they're saying is that, Reddit used to wholesale ban entire communities, and now it seems like they're not really doing that. So, I don't know. What do you think? Is Reddit finally trying to address, to allow people to have free speech? Do you think, was Spez trying to, what would you call this, like, teach someone a lesson? You message me saying certain people should be banned for their ideas, so then Spez basically says this is harassment and suspends them. I will admit, too, Reddit declined to confirm why the suspension was enforced. It could entirely be, this could be a fake story. I want to point this out because I'm just thinking about this. We don't know why this person got suspended. They could have posted some dumb bullshit somewhere on Reddit and got suspended for it, and then shared this message and said, oh, look at me, they're targeting me because I'm after hate speech. We don't really know. you know, it is what it is. So anyway, there you go. There's your story. I thought it was kind of funny. Stick around. I've got one more video on this channel in a few minutes.